Hi guys. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm finished with this model now, the Bergepanzer Tiger P Porsche. This one's taken me quite a while. This has taken me almost 6 weeks, which is rather a long time for me for a single model or a single kit. Although, in reality, there's a ton of stuff in there. From other things, such as all the tools came from different kits. Stowage boxes were added. We'll get around to a couple of the details in a minute. What I'm most happy about is the fact that the winch and the recovery spade really look like they belong on there. And part of the reason why this thing kept growing on me, or the project kept growing, is it made sense to me to have that winch and the spade there. But in order to make it more, how to put it, more apparent why or what they are and what they're for, I've had to add figures, and I had to wait for the figures to come in, and they're all MiniArt, by the way. And while they're not bad, I do prefer, what's the other one? I do have a preference for the other company. It'll come to me in a minute. But we're going around slowly, and all sorts of stowage is being added to it. Wood planking, just an extra box I had, a barrel for some reason. Now, let's go up a little bit, see if we can't get down. There we go, it's a little bit better. And I stole this idea from the actual spade kit, which is for the half-track, whatever it is, the 8-ton FAMO recovery. They use the pulleys to double the winching power. So I added that in and ran it back and anchored it off one of the tow points. And on both sides there's tow cables waiting and ready to be used to actually tow as opposed to pulling. And of course, as this thing's pushed back, it would encounter more and more resistance from the earth that's plowing or piling up. So it's going to actually dig itself in. Each of the tracks would act as a little bit of a chainsaw and dig themselves in a little bit, so it's gone a little deep. Some wood planking. You can see the hoists. They were also a pain. I don't really like working with small chains. Extra tow cables on the deck. Some of the small stuff. Now let me straighten this out a bit. There we go. An extra pulley, tow hasps, the C, I'm not sure what they're called, some extra tools, cables for the front, should they have to tow from the front, just a regular car jack, some tarps. For some reason I decided to add a bench vise right next to one of the tool kits. Some rags. We actually have an anvil and a hammer. I'm not sure if the hammer's going to zoom in or not. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Hammer just kicking around underneath the cable. Some fuel cans, an oil can. Again, more stowage boxes I added. Some more clamps. The commander's jacket will go up top. Hold on. How's that? Yeah, the commander's jacket, a helmet, a Panzerfaust, and an assault rifle have been sort of left up there just in case they're needed. Some steel beams that came out of the Tamiya barricade kit, and a piece of wood from the same kit. Some cylinder heads and some unknown part. Came out of a resin kit of stowage pieces I had kicking around. Let's adjust this back. What I'm probably going to do is take some still shots and post them up on ISM and run a link to it. And that's just regular thick hobby thread. It's been coated with silver. In order to make it look like he was actually pulling it, the figure's actually supposed to be pulling, but what I have to do, I tried drilling through his hand and it was going to take away too much of his hand to make it fit, so I've run it, cut it, glued it to his hand, glued another section between his hands, and then glued the final section off the back of the last hand. But what I do like is the winch. Let's see if we'll zoom in, preferably without knocking figures over. Now focus. Come on, focus in. Between that power box, it's actually part of a radio set for half track, and running the wires in, it actually looks like it belongs. I'm quite happy with that. So anyway, there were moments of fun building this, and this is the most fun one to say it's finally over with. This one's kind of been long for me, like I was saying. And a word of advice for anybody who does try the Dragon. This kit, and I assume their elephants, and the Ferdinands, and probably their Tiger P is the same. Because it's the DS track, you can run into a problem. The front wheels mount on, or the axle for the front wheels, or drive shaft if you want to call it that, can be mounted ecliptically, meaning it can actually mount the wheel anywhere in a small arc. And because I've had problems with rubber tracks before being too short, I mounted the wheel as far back as it will go. What I didn't realize is the DS tracks are quite long, and you can safely make it a whole lot longer. One of the problems you may have with that, if you go too far forward, you may run into clearance problems with the front fender, or even this upper fender here. So if you can, dry fit it. Whatever you do, well, just be aware that you may end up with too much sag, like I did on this side, and it's a pain to try and hide it once you've made the mistake. It's not so bad on this side for some reason. Came out a little bit better and more even here. But just if you're doing one of these kits, be aware. If it was the Magic tracks, it wouldn't be such a big deal. You could just leave out a link or two or three and get to a decent looking length. But with this DS stuff, you're stuck with the length. So just when you're building your own, either dry fit it or don't put the front wheel in its most backward position. Move it at least halfway forward, and you'll avoid some grief with it. Anyway, like I said, I'll get some pictures up on ISM when I get a chance. Camera battery's dying just now. Hope you enjoy having a look at it. Hopefully it inspires someone else to do some crazy kit bashing or some what if stuff, because this was never built as I've modeled it. So it's fun to build something that makes sense to you, to evolve something beyond where it was at the time. Give it a try. It's got to be at least as interesting as building specific prototypes. And have fun with your plastic. Take care.